Good day, everyone. I'm John Bertela Cruz, the second reporter of this topic, which is the Batas Pambansa Bilang 232. Today, I am going to continue the report of Ma'am Janet Kuwanan, the first reporter, and I am assigned to discuss some part of this topic because the topic is quite broad. So, let's get started. This report is comprising of the part 2, the educational community of Batas Pambansa Bilang 232. Chapter 3, the duties and obligations, as well as the part 3, the educational system of Batas Pambansa Bilang 232. Chapter 1, formal education. Chapter 2, non-education and specialized educational services. And last part of part 3, which is the chapter 3, establishment of schools. So let's take a look to duties and obligations first. Okay, chapter 3, duties and obligations. Section 14, duties of parents. In addition to those provided for under existing laws, all parents shall have the following duties and obligations. So, for those parents out there, listen carefully to your duties and responsibilities. Number one, parents, individually or collectively through the school system, shall help carry out the educational objectives in accordance with national goals. So, not only the educational personnel is the one who are required to carry out educational objectives, but also those parents to attain the national goals set by the government, since school children renders more time at home than to school. So it must begin at home. Giving importance to educational objectives in accordance with national goals must begin at home, as well as the information of children's behavior and attitudes. Number two, excuse me. Parents shall be obliged to enable their children to obtain elementary education and shall strive to enable them to obtain secondary and higher education in the pursuance of the right formation of the youth. So, see, this statement clearly defines that education is a right, not a privilege. All children must send to school and no one should left behind or be deprived of the right to education for this or for his or her growth and development. All children must be enrolled at elementary school. Parents should not stop from dreaming of better future for their children. So parents should strive to enable them to send their children for higher level of education, which is the secondary and also the tertiary level. Number three, parents shall cooperate with the school in the implementation of the school program, curriculum, and co-curricular activities. Parents should become an active stakeholders of the school in implementing the rules and regulation of the school, as well as the active participation on the activities of the school in boosting the morale of their children as well as the teachers. Um, they should also provide feedback and proper assessment on the said activities if it is helpful of both the students, teachers, and other stakeholders, and should provide ideas on how to improve the overall educational programs of the school for the sake of the students. Section 15, the duties and responsibilities of students. Now, this is for us, dear classmates. These are the things that needs to be observed at all times. Number one, exert his utmost to develop his potentialities for service, particularly by undergoing an education suited to his abilities in order that he may become an asset to his family and to society. Everyone should become an asset to our family, meaning to say the government are expecting from us to become productive in all our undertakings in life. That is beneficial for both our family as well as the whole society. We should develop and improve ourselves in a way that we brings change to improve the things around us. Number two, uphold the academic integrity of the school, endeavor to achieve academic excellence, and abide by the rules and regulations governing his academic responsibilities and moral integrity. To simplify this statement, we students are expected to become pride of our school where we are enrolled at, not a disgrace to a school that may affect the integrity of the school. Number three, promote and maintain the peace and tranquility of the school by observing the rules and discipline and by exerting efforts to attain harmonious relationship with fellow students, the teaching and academic staff, and other school personnel. Um, this is quite similar with the first one, but here we should become a role model to every students that may lead to unity to achieve a certain goal. Next one, number four, is the to participate actively in civic affairs and in the promotion of the general welfare, particularly in the social, economic, and cultural development of his community and in the attainment of a just, compassionate, and orderly society. Meaning to say, if we are active in participation in all the activities of our school, it should be the same when it comes in our society or when we are out of the school. We should cooperate and participate with the society where we belong. We should accept each member of the society, and the most important is to value the differences of each and everyone and respect the culture of others. Number five is exercise his rights responsibly in the knowledge that he is answerable for any infringement or violations of the public welfare and of the rights of others. We should become responsible at all times, take full responsibility and do whatever you want because it is our rights, but make sure that no one will get hurt because of your decision or our decisions. Being a good citizen is being a morally upright individual. Always remember that. So if it is always kept in our mind, we will never be a harm to everyone. Now let's move to the teacher's obligations. So here are the obligations of us, dear teachers. Number one, perform his duties to the school by discharging his responsibilities in accordance with the philosophy, goals, and objectives of the school. Be a role model, as simple as that this statement are being referring to. Number two, be accountable for the efficient and effective attainment of specified learning objectives in pursuance of national development goals within the limits of available school resources. It is clearly talks about the teaching procedure. Every teacher should always come prepared no matter the resources are very limited. Teachers should always assess whether the set learning objectives for the day are being attained or not. And if not, teachers should not proceed to the next topic unless most of the students comprehend and understand the lesson. And for those who have not passed the assessment made, the teachers should provide remediation. With this, teachers is an effective and efficient facilitator of learning. Number three, render regular reports on performance of each student and to the latter and later's parents and guardians with specific suggestions for improvement. This is good topic to discuss since the education department is facing this problem since time immemorial. Many complaints are raised from the department, especially by public school teachers. They say they can no longer teach the students due to paperwork and so on and so forth. But, dear teacher, always remember, do not accept any excess job related to teaching unless compensated. If not compensated, then you have the right to complain. So the most important things to do is to build a good relationship, or should I say harmonious relationship among teachers. 4. Assume the responsibility to maintain and sustain his professional growth and advancement and maintain professionalism in his behavior at all times. Teachers should strive for more for his or her own professional growth and development, like pursuing graduate studies for his or her own benefit, but also for the students. With this, not only teachers have the opportunity for educational advancement, but also for the advancement of the ideas of the students from the distinguished teacher. 5. Refrain from making deductions in students' scholastic rating for acts that are clearly not manifestations of poor scholarship. It is unlawful to deduct the pupils from his or her grades without concrete reason, as simple as that. 6. Participate as an agent of constructive, social, economic, moral, intellectual, and political change in his school and the community within the context of national policies. Participate in social, economic, moral, intellectual, cultural, and political change to the best of our ability. Next one is section 14, the school's administrator's obligations. This is now for higher ups or authority in the school context. Number one, sorry. Perform his duties to the school by discharging his responsibilities in accordance with the philosophy, goals, and objectives of the school. The administrator should perform everything that is in the scope of his position, whether it is for security purposes of the school, maintenance of school buildings, as well as the facilities and technologies, human resources, tasks, and so on and so forth. Number 2, be accountable for the efficient and effective administration and management of the school. Meaning to say, the school administrator must do everything he or she can, just to make the whole school safe and conducive to learning to the best of his or her ability. Number 3, develop and maintain a healthy school atmosphere conducive to the promotion and preservation of academic freedom and effective teaching and learning, and to harmonious and progressive school personnel relationship. If we go back to the first duties and obligation of the admin or the administrator, it is stated there that the general responsibility or the general maintenance of the school, including the people in the surrounding, like the teaching and the non-teaching personnel, as well as the students. So in here, it is specific to the school surrounding or the maintenance of the school facilities that should be conducive to learning and promotes harmonious relationship with others. 4. Assume maintain also assume and maintain professional behavior in his work and in dealing with students, teachers, academic, non-teaching, personnel, administrative staff, and parents or guardians. Every school administrator should work professionally in a way that he or she is not using his or her position to down the morale of the people that is under his or her management or supervision. 5. Render adequate reports to teachers, academic, non-teaching, personnel, and non-academic staff on their actual performance in relation to their expected performance and counsel them on ways of improving the same. So, school administrator should also do reports not only the teachers to compile the progress of the school and validate any discrepancies under his administration to make suitable steps to eradicate the problems. 6. Observe due process, fairness, promptness, privacy, constructiveness, and consistency in disciplining his teachers and other personnel. When it comes in giving disciplinary actions among his teachers and personnel, school admin must free of bias in giving sanctions. 7. Maintain adequate records and submit required reports to the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports. Besides doing reports, the school admin is required to submit reports such as accomplishment reports, etc., to the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, or DepEd nowadays. Section 14, the obligations of academic non-teaching personnel. So now let's talk about the duties and responsibilities of our beloved janitors, librarians, security guards, etc. to make our stay in our school comfortable. Number 1, improve himself professionally by keeping abreast of the latest trends and techniques in his profession. 2. Assume, promote, and maintain an atmosphere conducive to service and learning. They are also considered a professional because they are doing their best to make us safe and secure while we are in the school. They are professionals in their chosen careers also. 3. Promote and maintain an atmosphere conducive to service and learning. Those duties and obligations of the non-teaching personnel are self-explanatory and need no further discussion. So this is the end of the discussion about duties and obligations. So let's move to the educational system. Number 3, the educational systems. Chapter 1, the formal education. Section 19, Declaration of Policy. The state recognizes that formal education or the school system in society's primary learning system and therefore the main instrument for the achievement of the country's educational goals and objectives. So, what is formal education? It refers to the hierarchical, structured, and chronologically graded learning organized and provided by the formal school system, and for which certification is required in order for the learner to progress through the grades or move to high levels. So, formal education shall correspond to the following levels. Number 1, the elementary education or the first stage of compulsory formal education, primarily concerned with the providing basic education and usually corresponding to 6 or 7 grades including preschool programs. Nowadays, elementary education is composed of 6 years of schooling from grade 1 up to grade 6. But before you take up grade 1, students should be graduated in the kindergarten first. And grade 1 pupils should be a 6-year-old. 2. Secondary education. The state of formal education following the elementary level concerned primarily with continuing basic education and expanding it to include the learning of employable gainful skills, usually corresponding to 4 years of high school. Next level is the secondary education. Before secondary education is just 4 years of schooling, but nowadays, secondary education is subdivided into 2 categories, namely junior high school from grade 7 to grade 10 and the senior high school from grade 11 to grade 12. Tertiary education, post-secondary schooling is higher education, leading to a degree in a specific profession or discipline. This is the time where the students are asked to decide what career he or she wants to be in the future. Many colleges and universities nowadays offers a wide array of choices of career or courses for their students, like education courses, nursing, engineering, criminology, medical technology, accountancy, pharmacy, social work, vet med courses, psychology, international studies, what else? Aeronautics, marine engineering, architecture, business-related courses like marketing and so on and so forth. Section 21, Objectives of Elementary Education. Number 1, to provide the knowledge and develop the skills, attitudes, and values essential to personal development and necessary for living in and contributing to a developing and changing social milieu. Elementary education is the foundation of all. Here, where the child's minds, skills, values, and attitudes are being developed holistically by passionate teachers who are equipped in handling young minds. Number 2, to provide learning experiences which increase the child's awareness of and responsiveness to the changes in and just demand of society and to prepare him for constructive and effective involvement. Elementary education aims to empower the critical young minds and awareness of the pupils. Number 3, to promote and intensify the child's knowledge of identification with the love for the nation and the people to which he belongs. It also promotes the value of love to oneself, identification, and a sense of patriotism. Lastly, to promote work experiences which develop the child's orientation to the world of work and creativity and prepare himself to engage in honest and gainful work. They are aimed also to prepare the child for the world of work, since secondary education is far more difficult than elementary education. Section 22, the objectives of secondary education. Okay. Number one, to continue to promote, and sorry, to continue to promote the objectives of elementary education. What is being promoted in elementary education is being continued to secondary education, but more critical and broad. To number two, to discover and enhance the different aptitudes and interests of the students, so as to equip him with the skills for productive endeavor and or prepare him for tertiary schooling. Secondary education prepares students for college, where they are expected to choose their own career based on the interests and aspirations. Section 23, objective of tertiary education. Number one, to provide a general education program that will promote national identity, cultural consciousness, moral integrity, and spiritual vigor. The tertiary education is aimed not only to produce professionals, but a kind of professionals that are well-rounded, dedicated, effective, and efficient professionals in their chosen field. To train the nation's manpower in the skills required for national development. They also aim for a productive and dedicated working citizen that will help to boost the economy. To develop the professions that will provide leadership for the nation. Tertiary leaders aims for better future leaders. And to advance knowledge through research work and applying new knowledge for improving the quality of human life and responding effectively to changing societal needs and conditions. They train students to conduct more research as a platform for a better world. Chapter 2, the non-education and specialized educational services. Section 24, the specialized education services. The state further recognizes its responsibility to provide, within the context of the formal education system, services to meet special needs of certain clientele. Specialized education is the answer to cater students with special needs as well as special talents. These specific types, which shall be guided by the basis policies of the state embodied in the general provisions for this act, include work education or practical arts as a program of basic education which aims to develop the right attitudes towards work, and technical vocational education, post-secondary but non-degree program leading to 1 or 3 year certificate in preparation for a group of middle-level occupation. These are short courses offered by TESDA with the corresponding certificates that they can use to apply for a job. Number 2, special education, or the education of persons who are physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, or culturally different from the so-called normal. Individuals that they required modifications of school practices, services to develop them to their maximum capacity. Special education is a specialized education made for the students with the special needs like autism and many more. But SPED, or special education, is not only for children with special needs, but also for children with exceptional talents like giftedness. And the non-formal education, or any organized school-based educational activities undertaken by the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports and other agencies aimed at training specific learning objectives for a particular clientele, especially the illiterates and the out-of-school youths or adults. Alternative learning system or alternative education system is the best example for this, where the out-of-school youths are being accepted to continue their education in a non-formal way of education. It is distinct from the outside, the regular offerings of the formal school system. The objectives of non-formal education are as follows. Number 1, or letter A, to eradicate illiteracy and raise the level of functional literacy of the population. To eradicate people who do not attend schooling. B, to provide unemployed and underemployed youths and adults with appropriate vocational and technical skills to enable them to become more productive and effective citizens. The non-formal education aimed to provide the unemployed people the opportunity to live in a decent way, in a way that they are able to provide necessary and enough food, shelter, clothing, and education for their families, and to develop among the clientele of non-formal education proper values and attitudes necessary for personal, community, and national development. They aim to equip every citizen the right to become an asset of the nation as well as for their family by giving them an opportunity to study and provide them the skills needed for their chosen careers. Chapter 3, Establishment of Schools. Section 25, Establishment of Schools. All schools should be established in accordance with law. The establishment of new national schools and the conversion of existing schools from elementary to national secondary or tertiary schools shall be by law. Let me share this with you. I remembered one of my professor in college once said that the difference between the colleges and universities, according to him, is how the school treat research, how they value research, how depth their researches are, and how renowned their school in terms of research is. Provided that any private school proposed to be established must incorporate as a non-stock educational corporation in accordance with the provision of the Corporation Code of the Philippines. This requirement to incorporate may be waived in the case of family-administered preschool institution. Government assistance to such schools for educational programs shall be used exclusively for that purpose. Meaning to say, establishing schools, whether public or private schools, are undergoing a series of steps, and they have also need to file different papers, documents, and so on and so forth to get the permit to operate. Establishing schools is not just as easy as what other knows, but it is difficult as making a crucial decisions in life. According to my research, establishing school involves decision if the school will be a profit or non-profit. It involves choosing the organizational structure, knowing the benefits of the tax exemption with accordance with the Internal Revenue Code. Section 26. Schools are duly established institutions of learning or is an educational institution. Simply, a school is an organization that provides instruction or institution for the teaching of children or imparting knowledge. Number two, public school are educational institutions established and administered by government. Usually, public school is free of tuition fee because most of the funds used by the public school are all from the government, since they are or the government is the one who operates the school. Without second thought, I must say that most of the public schools are very poor when it comes to their facilities, which is not conducive to learning, maybe due to some unpredictable reasons such as the location and, of course, corruption. Private schools are educational institutions maintained and administered by private individuals or groups. Private schools are not free of charge like tuition fees, miscellaneous fees, book fees, uniform fees, dormitory fees, library fees, and tour fees. They have all these kind of fees because their revenue is very limited since their sole source of revenue is based on the number of students enrolled in their school. Usually, private schools are offering a high-end and state-of-the-art facilities, high in tuition fees, of course, and usually students who can afford to enter the study is those students who are from wealthy family. Very few less fortunate students can manage to enter the private education because of the scholars offered by the school based on their academic performances. Section 27, Recognition of Schools. The educational operation of schools shall be subject to the prior authorization of the government and shall be affected by recognition. In the case of government-operated schools, whether local, regional, or national recognition of educational programs and or operations shall be deemed granted simultaneously with establishment. After the applicants have provided all the necessary documents and permits needed for the establishments of school, and if the government assessed and validated the documents and permits and they passed, then the government will be providing now their permit to operate. In that case, their school is now a recognized school by the government. In all other cases, the rules and regulations governing recognition shall be prescribed and enforced by the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, defining therein who are qualified to apply, providing for a permit system, stating the conditions for the grant of recognition and for its cancellation and withdrawal, and providing for related matters. With this, not only the government is the one who are involved in the organization of school, but also the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, or the DepEd nowadays. They have their say in the validation of the credentials of the applicants, whether they are qualified or not, as well as in the cancellation and withdrawal of the permits given. They are involved with it. So, Section 28, Effects of Recognition, Punishable Violations. The issuance of certificate of recognition to a school shall have the following effects. So after the school is being recognized by the government as well as the Ministry of Education, Culture and Sports, or DepEd, the punishable violations and the effects of this recognition are being formulated or set. Number 1. It transformed the temporary permit to a permanent authority to operate. If the school is fully operated, then the government and the Ministry of Education, Culture and Sports will now decide whether the permit to operate will be for temporary or for permanent authority to operate based on their guidelines. Number 2, it entitled the school or college to give the students who have completed the course for which recognition is granted a certificate, title, or diploma. The recognized school that has a temporary or permanent national recognition from the government and Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports has the privilege to recognize also their students who are completed the curriculum required for their course, and they are entitled also to receive a governmentally recognized certificate, title, and diploma from the school. 3. It shall entitle the student who have graduated from said recognized course or courses to all the benefits and privileges enjoyed by graduates in similar courses of studies in all schools recognized by the government. The privileges enjoyed by the students enrolled from the world-renowned or even national-renowned private and public schools may now be enjoyed also by the students who are enrolled at the newly recognized school for those who have finished their courses. Operation of school and programs without authorization and or operation thereof in violation of the terms of recognition are hereby declared punishable violations, subject to the penalties provided in this act. As I mentioned a while ago, whether the permit to operate is temporary or permanent, the school is still subject for closure of their if there are violations in the terms and conditions and guidelines set by the government and Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports. Lastly, Section 29. Voluntary accreditation. The ministry shall encourage programs of voluntary accreditation for institutions which desire to meet standards of quality over and above minimum required for state recognition. Accreditation of program and courses offered by the school was highly encouraged for further validations from experts on how to improve more their programs and courses that are currently offered. Though accreditation of current programs and courses offered is challenging and arduous because there are a lot of papers and documents needed to be prepared, there are a lot of modifications needed to be done in terms of the facilities, the structure of the facility or building, rules and regulation of the school or department, maintenance and cleanliness of the whole area to be accredited, the participation of the non-teaching personnel, teaching staff as well as students, school manuals like modifications in policies, and even the goals, objectives, and vision mission of the school are subject for modification, amendments, or even total revision for a very limited time. Still, those are very beneficial for the school and for the students also. So, and that's the end of my report. Have a good day and thank you for lending your ears. And of course, thank you for your time. Keep safe, everyone. Let us see last one. Again, have a good day.